Hello, welcome to Appleosophy Weekly, episode 4, when we talk about the latest Apple tech news and rumors of the week. Before we get the show started, I'd like to introduce Chris, who's on the Appleosophy executive team. He's a COO of Appleosophy and a co-founder. So thank you, Chris, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Holden. And I mean, as I said in, I think, one of the other episodes that I've done, it's a pleasure to be here always. And,
Pleasure.
let's get straight into this.
Right. So before we get into this, I just want to make sure, guys and gals, be sure to follow us on at Appleosophy on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So Appleosophy. And you can visit Appleosophy.com for all the latest Apple tech news and rumors, and all that stuff's there. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about is iOS 12.1.4. So it finally released after I believe a 1 week wait. Am I right, Chris? It's been a week, right? It's been on quite.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, it's been about a week. So Apple officially releases iOS 12.1.4 with fix for group FaceTime. Okay, so this update basically fixes group FaceTime. So the release notes for iOS 12.1.4 only list that it's a security update, but it says that they want to recommend everyone to download it because it's a major bug, and they want to make sure everyone's running on iOS 12.1.4. So if you want group FaceTime working again, you're gonna need to download iOS 12.1.4. So Chris, are you running iOS 12.1.4? Because I updated it a few days ago actually.
I'm actually running, I think, 12.2 because I'm the beta tester, but
12.2. Oh, okay.
I think that with the way that Apple pushes their updates to basically everyone, I think they'll have everyone updated within the next month or so.
Yeah. Apple's adoption rates are usually pretty dang good compared to Android.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't quote me on the statistics, but I mean Android's download rates are really, really crap. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, I think it has to do with that because Android's operating system for multiple phones, and so I think it has it depends on the phone. I know it's weird in my opinion that they do it, but it's Android, and I believe Android's open source. Am I right?
Yeah, it is open source.
Yeah, it's open source, so it kind of makes sense because there's phone developers that want to run different versions on different phones. It depends on the phone developer. It's kind of their job, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
make the hardware.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because you have all these Android phones, and quite a lot of them will get 2 updates, and then they'll go unsupported for the rest of their phone lives, which
right.
I find pretty damning because you're paying $300 for a phone for a typical bog standard Android phone, and then you're only being supported for 2 security updates, and then
my
potentially
friend.
a third
So my friend has the Samsung Galaxy S8, and honestly, I asked him if he gets updates on there, and I haven't asked him in a while, but he usually doesn't see any updates coming through. Maybe it's doing it automatically, I'm not sure, but he hasn't noticed anything. So I don't know. It depends on the phone manufacturer. From my point.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so group FaceTime now back online. If you want to use group FaceTime, be sure to run iOS 12.1.4. I love group FaceTime, but I'm also glad at the same time Apple fixed this feature. So yay. Okay, so moving on to the next story. So we're going to be talking about 5GE. So yes, you guys may have heard of this a few weeks ago when AT&T rolled out 5GE to Android phones. But 5GE is now coming to iOS 12.2. It has now been spotted. Okay, so if you don't know what 5GE is, so basically, well, to put it in short terms, it's basically fake 5G. Okay, it's 5GE is kind of like pre 5G. What's stupid about this is 5GE runs on LTE towers, and Like it's not even using real 5G. So all it's really using just better LTE for 5GE. So um, and Sprint is actually suing AT&T over this. Um, but Chris, you think that was the right move for Sprint to do? Because it's a little interesting to see them do that.
I mean, I think they reserve the right to, but it's just surprising that it was Sprint because I mean,
Yeah.
on that note, why wasn't it Virgin Mobile or something like that? Because like although it's falsely advertising the 5G network already being out, which it isn't.
So
I
sorry.
think it's just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, they were the ones to take action.
Right. So sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you here, but so I believe so. This is what AT&T trying to do. They're trying to do something called five. They're trying to make like a new lineup of, I guess you can say, like so. What they're trying to do is so there's 5GE, and then there's 5G, I believe, and then there's 5G plus, I believe. But AT&T is trying to really change the marketing of their 5G network. So I guess we can say what they're doing is they're rebranding their LTE as 5GE, which isn't even 5G. But the E in 5G means evolution. So it's 5G evolution. So I guess you can say it's not 5G because it has evolution in it. I don't know. I think it's honestly I think it's very misleading to customers because I feel like customers have no idea what they're getting into. Like they'll probably actually think they have 5G on their phones, but it's actually not. It's technically 4G LTE. So a little bad side on AT&T.
Well, yeah, and just from a legal standpoint, that's actually against the Trades Description Act. And although that's in the UK, I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure the US has a version of that. And,
Yeah, I
it's
think it
falsely
does.
advertising.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so it's falsely advertising product.
no, I think so. I believe it is too. It's just people won't know that like as a fact. Like, yeah, I do believe it's misleading. Okay,
Yeah, and so that's why they had every right to sue.
you're right. Okay, so the next thing we'll be talking about is this is a little sad for some people. So the head of Apple retail, okay, is leaving Apple. Okay, so Chris, would you like to tell us about this story?
Okay, so Angela, I'm not sure how to pronounce
Yeah, I can never
the
pronounce her
last
name
name.
either. I think it is Angretz.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah, something like that.
Angela
So
Angretz. Yeah.
she's leaving Apple, and she's been the face of Apple retail. Who, she was the main person to lead the Today at Apple movement, of having all those sessions held at the Apple stores,
Mm-hmm.
and now that she's leaving, um, it's kind of you know unstable at the moment for Apple retail because the person replacing her, Deary O'Brien,
Mm-hmm.
um, we're not really sure, how they've done in retail aspects, like
So
the way that Apple do things.
I think Deary I think I can never like they have complicated names. I'm sorry. I apologize to the listeners if I pronounced her name wrong. I'm really bad with names if you haven't like tell already. But Deary O'Brien, I feel like honestly I feel like she'll do a good job because I seen just like I seen her in the background kind of Apple, and if Tim Cook believes she'll do the job right, I think she can do it because I'm pretty sure the Apple executive team picked her. Like I'm sure they know what they're doing. But I'm gonna read a little bit of the press release Apple sent out to the press this week. So this is what Tim Cook said. So Tim Cook said, "At Apple, we believe our soul is our people." And oh crap, I cannot say her name. Help me out here, Chris.
And Deirdre
Deirdre, thank you.
understands.
Deirdre understands the qualities and strengths of our team better than anyone," said Tim Cook, Apple's CEO. Okay, so Deirdre O'Brien is a 30-year Apple veteran who leads Apple retail and people's team now. Okay, so she's been with Apple for a very long time, so I think she'll do good because she's been a while. She's been with the company for how old is Apple? 40 something. Chris? Yeah.
40. Yeah, 43, I think,
Yeah,
maybe.
so she's been with Apple for a very long time, since the Steve Jobs days. So that's kind of cool. Um,
Yeah, so she's been there from the beginning.
yeah. So I think I don't know if Apple retail will really change that much, but I feel like she'll keep it the same as like the previous, but maybe add some more marketing stuff. Cause you know how Apple been like really push on the iPhone 10 on marketing recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting because you know, Angela put all that into, the Today Apple thing. So it'd be interesting
right,
to see what, Deirdre brings to Apple in terms of, uh, community and, that aspect of it, because it's not like you can really relaunch something like Today Apple because it's already so big and so
right,
profound.
right. So so uh, Angela is gonna leave Apple in April. All right. Um, Tim Cook didn't say when exactly, but it'll be sometime in April. I'm sure we'll get more information about that later in the next coming months. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna be talking about is Sonic adding Apple Pay. So this is none of you guys may have heard this, but we've been so one of our writers, David Becker, have been doing some Twitter research. It looks like, and it mentioned so. I'm gonna read a little bit of his article so we can get it. So just to get you guys like just to let you guys know what we're gonna be talking about. So here's what David said. We have a reason to believe that Sonic, one of the most popular drive-in restaurants in America, could be adding Apple Pay soon. According to a according to a tweet from Graphic Strick on Twitter, it mentions how Sonic does have NFC readers on their menus at the restaurants, but the NFC has either been disabled or not activated. So the one thing that really pisses me off about these companies, okay, they have the latest POS systems, but they don't take advantage of that Apple Pay and Android Pay and Google Pay. Um, Honestly, I don't even know why they don't do it. Like, Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's stupid of them because if they have that technology, they should be implementing it as soon as they get that available to them.
I
Because I
know.
mean, the ease of paying with your face or your finger, depending on what phone you have,
Mm-hmm.
is something really important to me now that I have that capability. And when a store doesn't have it, I am kind of pissed off because it's something that I'm so used to doing, and so then I have to, fumble around in my wallet and,
Yeah.
get cash out or, my actual card that I can use. But yeah, I think it's, stupid of them to, not have it activated or, you know, um,
No, I agree.
yeah, just
So here's the
implement it.
thing, so Target recently is rolling out Apple Pay as we speak right now, and the thing is that they had the same POS system for like forever, like the same card reader systems. They just never had it activated. So Target could have had Apple Pay like 2 years ago, but they're just now activating it. So I don't understand like why they're doing it, like why companies are doing it later than usual. It's a little bit weird, but um, it is so looking back at talking about Sonic again. So Sonic Drive-In could be. Let's just say they could be activating Apple Pay soon because their POS system supports it. But the question is, why aren't they using it? Am I right?
Yeah, and I mean, for both Target and Sonic, I think the reason why they haven't implemented it yet is due to the fact that it's another stream of payment for them, so they have to keep track of all those
You know what? I
payments,
was thinking about that.
and
That could be it too. That could be part of it.
yeah, because there's the legal and financial side to it all, apart from just saying, oh yeah, we support Android Pay and Apple Pay now. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's just my thoughts on it. But I understand that David Becker, one of our writers, really likes using Apple Pay at Target now. That
Yeah,
his Target has it. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's still rolling out to more targets actually. But we should see a final rollout probably by end of the month. I'll say
yeah,
because I
I'd say it would
really
be done by then.
because I feel like you're doing like a staggered rollout right now. So it basically means like they're slowly rolling out to locations. Honestly, I don't know what they're officially doing it, but every day we're seeing more targets accept Apple Pay. and it's just what we've been seeing. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So next thing we're gonna be talking about is Memoji. Okay, so we're gonna talk about this for a little bit because it's not huge, but Apple releases new ads for Memoji. Okay, so Apple released 3 new ads for Memoji. So these ads are for the Grammy Awards. So the ads feature Ariana Grande, DJ Khaled, and Florida Georgia. Okay, so it's just I honestly love these Memoji ads. They're very creative, and I like how Apple has been. I think Apple copied this from someone on Twitter. Am I right?
I
I think
I'm not entirely sure. I think
I'm
it
pretty
was
sure they
from
copied it.
yeah, it was from like one of those emoji covers or something like that.
Yeah, so Apple got into the game with that, and they've been making advertisements out of it. So, but I think it's pretty funny that they're doing that, and the ads are not boring. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean, there's ones for Khalid, Florida Georgia Line, and Ariana Grande.
Yep.
And that's, you know, 3 big music artists right there. And it was supposed to be in time for the Grammys, but then Ariana Grande, uh, isn't performing, so that's kind of just a bit awkward, I guess. But yeah, there's nothing boring about these ads. They're all really well done.
Well, I
And
think she's in it because she released a new album recently.
yeah,
On
she's
Friday.
been nominated for it, or for one of the awards.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all of these ads, they're all unique and they're all original content. So I mean, what's not to like about them? Because when Apple do an ad for Memoji, I always get excited, and it's just something that is unique to Apple as a whole, because of the fact that they developed that technology first. Because you don't necessarily see Samsung putting out an advert for whatever their Memoji type thing is called, Samsung Moji, or what have you.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Because I mean, it's just not as unique.
Exactly. Okay, so next thing we're going to be talking about is Unicode emojis. Okay, so Unicode has published its final emoji list for 2019. So here's what's going to be included in this. So these are potential emojis that we can see in iOS 13 or later versions that'll be coming in the near future this year. So there is a waffle. There's a waffles emoji finally. We all need our waffle emoji. Am I right, Chris?
Yes, we are.
Right, and they have a blood emoji, they have a blood emoji, a wheelchair emoji, a person yawning emoji, an ear emoji. There's also a thumbs up emoji. Oh wait, sorry, not a thumbs up. I can't tell because it's so they made it the emoji's so small, but it looks like he's sticking up either his middle finger or his thumb up. I cannot tell. There's also a chair emoji, swimming suit emoji. There's a skunk emoji, a butter emoji. All right, and you guys can check out the rest for yourself. But Emoji 12.0 contains 75 new emojis. Okay, actually, sorry, not 75. 230 new emojis, which also includes different skin tones. But Chris, what emoji are you looking forward to?
I mean, I'm probably looking forward to the waffle one, because
me too.
All of these other ones you've just listed seem, very non-specific to, my uses of emojis, and I mean, the thing is that with emojis, I think they've become, sort of a political thing now as well, because whenever an emoji is released, there has to be, 3 or 4 different skin tones and stuff like that, which I find kind of unnecessary, because, I was fine back in iOS 6 where they only had the yellow skin emojis. And
well, I think the yellow skin emoji kind of represents everyone, but I think they added the race emojis in there, just to show that cultural. yeah, cultural, and also like why not? Why not add this?
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that you have to think about with Unicode.
Hmm.
Every time a new character set is put out, that's taking up more storage on your device because you have to think about the the image data, or not the
Hmm.
image data, but the like colors and all of that stuff when you're thinking about a new iOS update. And I mean, there was one I read from, I think it was Vogue News,
Hmm.
Teen Vogue, and they said something about the blood emoji being for um, a female's menstrual cycle and stuff like that. So I think it's just become a bit political at the moment. But I mean, other than that, I'm happy with just the waffle emoji
In my
because I mean
opinion,
everything else I probably won't ever
hmm
use.
in my opinion, I don't think it's really a political thing. This is just me, but I kind of makes I understand what you're saying, but for me, I just think it's kind of like why not have it there, and maybe it's like better to use it like describe people with like different racial emojis, I guess you can say. Um, but yeah. Okay, so we're gonna be moving topics now. So next we're gonna be talking about is Apple reaches deal with France to pay estimated, oh I can't wait to say this number, $571 million in back taxes. So yeah, it's a lot of money. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, that is a lot of money, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's as much money as the one that was with Ireland, though, if I'm correct, right?
I think Ireland was a billion. I have to look back though, but I think it was more than 571
Yeah,
million. But hey, Apple need to pay them taxes, so there we go. Okay,
yeah.
so Apple's French division confirmed that tax payment agreement to Reuters, which is a news source, but they didn't disclose how much it had agreed to pay. Although French media suggested that the sum around 500 million euros, which converts to 571 million U.S. dollars, and but France has been working to stop tech companies like Apple from exploiting tax loopholes from countries. So basically, countries like France are trying to like get companies like Apple to stop like finding like that type of stuff. Um, but yeah, Chris, do you have anything to tell us?
Um, well, I mean, at the moment, I'm just trying to look up how much um Apple had to pay back to Ireland, but I think the whole thing with France is, a bit ambiguous because they haven't disclosed the figures, and so, it's a bit, you
Mm-hmm.
know, iffy. But then, I think the French government are right in, trying to stop Apple from exploiting these tax loopholes.
Right.
But then again, it's taking, you know, basically it's taking money away from the consumer at the end of the day, because then now that Apple's being taxed more, you're going to have to pay more for an iPhone and stuff like that. And so it's just kind of just, I forgot the term for it, but like they're just trying to retaliate and pass
Yeah.
the cost on, and so they don't take a hit.
No, I see what you're saying. But yeah, Apple's paying them taxes, so that's good. Okay, so next thing we'll be talking about is the iPhone 10. So the iPhone 10, you can now buy the iPhone 10 on Apple.com again from Apple's certified refurbished webpage. So Apple is now you can now buy the refurbished iPhone 10 directly from Apple at a discount for the first time since the device was released in 2017. So Apple made the device available on Monday at its official certified refurbished webpage, in the United States. So they have both colors available, which is space gray and silver models, and available in 64 gigabytes and 256 gigabyte configurations. But these discounts bring us to, so for the 64 gigabyte model, it runs you down to 769 US dollars, and then with the 256 gigabyte models, it's 899 US dollars, down from the original 999 and 1,149. But Chris, what would you say? Would you say iPhone 10 or iPhone 10R?
Um, I'd say 10R just because I'd rather have a brand new product than something that that someone else has
Right, like
touched.
with the
Because
latest chips and stuff like that.
yeah, you have that one lens technology on the 10R, and you have the updated processors and updated Face ID and everything like that. When
Mm-hmm.
if you were to get the refurbished version, you'd be getting everything that was older and used, and so I don't really see the point in that. And just from what we were talking about just a minute ago, it looks like Apple paid 16 billion or 16.1 billion in taxes to Ireland.
Dang. Yeah. I was just guessing 1 billion.
No, it
Okay.
looks like it was way more.
Yeah, yeah, that's a bad guess on my side. Um, but some of you guys are probably asking, what's the benefit of buying a refurbished product? So if you're skeptical about buying a refurbished device, you shouldn't be, because it's all Apple certified. So basically, this is done on Apple's side, and Apple still like inspects the device and they test it and it's cleaned. So it's basically like a used device, but they fix it up so it's all brand new again. And they and a part's broken, they fix it. Um, but it's basically a way that Apple can put old iPhones back into a customer's hand, I guess you can say. Uh, but yeah, and if any of you guys were thinking if you want to add Apple Care Plus to a refurbished iPhone 10, it'll be for an additional fee of $200, which in my opinion is really expensive. I wouldn't pay $200, but some of you guys like Apple Care and Apple Care Plus, so I just want to throw that out.
Yeah, and also I'm not sure whether it's still relevant or on the Apple clearance website, but the iPhone SE is back on there as well. So
Yes.
if you're
So
looking
last
to buy
week,
an SE,
we talked about that at the last week's show, actually.
oh okay,
But yeah, the iPhone SE, it's actually been going out of stock like real fast. Like it's been going in and out of stock like a lot. So I believe these are the iPhones that are made in India because Apple started producing the iPhone SE in India, so instead of China. So these devices are probably going to be made in India. I cannot confirm that though. But I'll say if you buy an iPhone SE, it'll either be from China or India. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
moving on, I think we should talk about how Apple has collaborated with numerous different health insurance companies to
Right.
create
I heard about that.
this app called Attain.
Isn't
And
by like Aetna Insurance or something?
uh, yes,
I believe
so
I have that.
it's by Antenna, and it's for Apple Watch users
Oh, okay.
to track the health history and have personalized goals to becoming healthier and have better nutrition. And yeah, so a quote here from the the newsroom. Every day we receive emails and letters from people all over the world who have found great benefit by incorporating Apple Watch into their lives and daily routines. And yeah, so Holden, what do you think about this being implemented with health insurance companies and things like that to track health?
I think it's really cool actually. So I believe more insurance companies should be doing this more. I see it as a really good benefit for insurance companies, and I think more insurance companies should be doing this more and partnering with Apple to do that. But I think it's really cool actually. It gets more Apple Watch. It gets more Apple Watches in people's hands more. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I think over in the UK over here,
Mhm.
there's another company doing it called Vitality, and they are giving away Apple Watches to their subscribers or whatever.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, they're doing the same thing. They're using their health data to be able to track and you know get insurance quotas and stuff like that, which I
Mhm.
find interesting because it brings that whole personal aspect into health insurance. And it could mean that you save money, or it could mean that you end up paying a bit more, but you never know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's really beneficial to, like, cause dude, like Apple Watch can actually save people's lives surprisingly, especially with the recent reports. Especially with what's it called? Like, like when you fall down, the Apple Watch calls 911 automatically. What's that
Oh,
feature
the
called?
the fall detection.
Yeah, I think the fall detection feature is like I think it's really good for like older people and also like people who just like need help in general, like need help like getting up and stuff like that. Um, but I really see the Apple Watch being beneficial to like young people like us and older generation people. So yeah, Chris,
Yeah, and
yeah,
and
go
sorry,
on.
just moving on from that topic of health and the Apple Watch.
Yeah,
Just this past week, there was reports of a man who I think fell over and got concussed or something like that. He had head damage
yeah,
and
it's
he was
this
bleeding
Norwegian.
from his head.
Yeah, it was this dude in Norway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he fell over basically, I think, in the middle of the night or something. And, the Apple Watch called 911 or whatever the emergency number is in Norway.
Mhm.
And it basically saved his life because otherwise he would have bled out from his head.
Right. Yeah. So, like, I think, like, I see the way Apple is going. I really think I don't know. We don't know too much this year about Apple and healthcare, but I really think in 2019 they're really gonna start like I guess they make more features that has to do with healthcare stuff. But yeah, I like the path Apple's going right now.
Yeah, and I think they've definitely, taken a big stride this year, especially with that fall detection, because um, I think it was when the Apple Watch first came out, so when Series 1 was still brand new,
Mhm.
they, did an advert on how special the Apple Watch was to, people with disabilities and stuff like that, because if they fell over, if they had an accident, they were able to, um, have that remote function to be able to, alert someone. And, I think that with that, it would have been better if they had, promoted that feature now
Mhm.
because, it's been proven that it's saved so many people's lives potentially.
No, I agree with you, Chris. You have anything else to talk about in today's episode, Chris?
Um, I would just like to talk about how uh, recently, 2 days ago, in fact, the Apple was trying or is pledging to remove apps from the App Store that are recording your screen,
Oh yeah, I heard
and
about this. Yeah.
basically a study by TechCrunch was saying how some iPhone apps and iPad apps have this thing called playback, I think it is. And with that playback function, they're able to record your screen for the duration that you're on the app. And sometimes that'll, collect information. So, for instance, if you're putting in your credit card number to buy,
Mhm.
some shoes or something like that, then they're able to, you know, record that and then they can do whatever they want with it, requiring, that someone malicious had access to the screen recordings. And so basically, Apple is pledging to remove that code from the apps that have it to stop fraudulent, things happening.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a privacy issue, and Apple is really focused on privacy.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a double negative for Apple at the moment, especially with, everything that went down with
The FaceTime.
group FaceTime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's kind of ironic, but I mean, at least they're putting in the effort to, fix it instantaneously.
No, right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But I think that's it for this week's episode.
Yes, that's all we've got time
All right.
for.
So thank you guys for listening to Appleosophy Weekly episode 4. We'll be back again next week for more Apple news of the week. So if you guys haven't yet, again I said this in the beginning of the episode, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Appleosophy Appleosophy. Be sure to also follow us on Twitter and be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube because we've been live streaming these Appleosophy Weekly episodes on YouTube, and if you listen on Apple Podcasts, be sure to check out our YouTube channel and turn on notifications for our channel, because we live stream all these episodes, most of the episodes to YouTube, and then we publish them later on to Spotify, Apple Music and stuff. Sorry, not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts and stuff like that. So be sure to follow us be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah, and also if you're looking to, become even closer to Appleosophy, make sure you check out the Appleosophy jobs page at appleosophy.com/jobs.
Definitely, we're looking for writers, web developers. Yes, appleosophy.com/jobs.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out, guys.
Okay, well, that concludes today's episode. Chris, thank you for joining today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for listening, and bye.